and welcome to my workshop. Today's video is a Cavco video. I did actually announce in the previous video that I was going to do a 3D modeling video, but I discovered that only a month ago I did one which was going to be fairly identical to that, so it wasn't really much point in doing that. So today we're going to do something entirely different, and what I'm going to do is bring a rather complex 2D drawing in, make some vectors and do the toolpath for a V-bit carving, and we're going to carve it on the new MIDI CNC router. But I've broke this up into two videos, so it's going to be a short Cavco video showing you how to do this, and then it'll be the actual carving of it in a separate video. So here we go. I've opened Cavco, and this is the opening screen, and it will present to you previous jobs that you've actually carried out in Cavco. This is Cavco Maker Plus. Now what you see me do, Cavco Maker will do it, Maker Plus, and the main Cavco program. So we come up to here and open up a new job, and we're going to say the material is 300 by 300. Now, resolution is not really necessary for it to be high resolution. Really, you want to use the high resolution when you're doing a 3D job, carving. And I'm just going to get you the piece of material that I've prepared to do this. You might be interested in that. Now this is a piece of MDF, okay, and it's 16 millimeters thick, and I've sprayed it with a red general purpose spray paint for wood, actually. And I use this color because it's a very, very good contrasting color when you V-bit carve it to reveal the MDF behind it. So that's a good tip, good color to use. And it's not necessary to put the depth of the material in here yet. So we're running on millimeters, and I quite like using the center of the material for the datum point rather than one of the bottom corners, but I do, that's my personal preference. So a lot of people like using this front left hand corner as the datum point, so we'll use that this time. So we'll say OK with that, and we'll just make this bigger. There we go. So that's how you can make the screen bigger or smaller as you wish. I've got me down in this corner. Now then, so what we're going to do is bring in a piece of work, and here it is here. It's a bitmap, and so using a bitmap, it doesn't matter, it could be a JPEG bitmap, it doesn't matter to Cavco. There's there's 1001 different files that it sort of recognizes. So all I'm simply going to do is drag and drop it into Cavco. Now I'll probably have to reset the dimensions. It may ask me to reset the dimensions again, so just drag and drop it into the material. And what it's doing is, well, Cavco's saying, well, the original picture is 700 by 700. So we're going to say, okay, look, drop it down to our originals, what we require. So it's 300 by 300, and that is how you resize. And that's it. Now it's jumped actually to the 3D window, but we're working in 2D. Alright, because the end product is a 2.5D carving. So we'll zoom into this a little, not too much. Okay. That's nice. Now, that's a very, very good quality picture. They don't all come in like that. We just see black and white there, but believe you me, now if you look at these boxes down the bottom, these are all the different colors or shades of colors in that picture. That is what Cavco sees. Now I'm going to scroll through them just to show you how many there are. So that's one line, two, so it's going grayer, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, nearly 10 lines of boxes. So I think there'll be probably 255 different colors there. Now we have to bring that down to 2 or 3. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So just so we can tell Cavco, well, we want you to draw around this particular color. And the way we do that is come up to this tool here, and this is bitmap to vector. So when you select that, it'll bring up this dialog box. Now it asks you, so you sort of go through it stage by stage. So reduce the colors, quite definitely, that's what we want to do. So we're going to click on that box. Already in the background, just by clicking on that, it has brought the colors down to 32 different colors from 255. So it's telling you that there were 255 colors there, and we've automatically brought it down to 32, but we're going to catch hold of this slider bar and bring it down even further. Now just look at the picture in the background. You can't see a lot of difference there. Down the bottom you can see the boxes of different colors reducing, 7, 6. So what we're going to do is come down as far as we can without losing clarity of the picture. 4, 3. You can see it's getting starting to get a little grainy now. 2. You notice a big change then? So I'm going to take it up a couple of colors because I want a nice crisp picture. Okay, now obviously we still want to allow Cavco 2 colors to distinguish between, like a major and minor color. So what I'm going to do is I am going to merge some of these colors together. The grays I'm going to merge together with the black, which is easily done. You just left click. Oh, we better apply that first. But now I'm coming here, so left click, bring it over, drop it into the black color, release. You see there's a little joining bar there. So I'm going to come over here, catch out of this one, join that one into here as well. Okay, so see it's joined it. So what you've done, you've linked those colors into the black. And so we've got black and we've got white. So I'm going to come here now and right click on the white. So the major color, which is the one overlapping, that's the major color, that's the minor color. So now what we're going to say is create boundaries. That's okay, leave it as it is. Speckle size. Now what the speckle size is, now I'll zoom into the picture and I'm going to show you, or give some description of speckle. Okay. I don't think there's any individual. Yes, there is. Now, the whole picture, right, is made up of pixels, little boxes, little square boxes. And so what this speckle size represents is, you're saying to Cavco, well, I want you to draw around all these black lines, but I want you to ignore 2 pixels or less. Otherwise the picture becomes too complex and a mess. So it's going to ignore that pixel there and that pixel there, as though it doesn't exist. Okay, so that's what this means. So we'll come back out. Oh, well, actually I'll stay there because it gives you a good representation. Now, the smoothness is a degree of, well, I suppose if you put this to a low number, right, Cavco, when it's tracing, will try and trace around pretty well every pixel. And that's not what we want. What we want to do is smooth this line out. So 75% is a measurement of smoothness then that you want Cavco to follow around here. Now, I have found that the recommended 75% is perfect. I've never really had to change that in 10 years of using either ATCAM or Cavco. So the recommendation there is fine. Primary color, black. So we wanted to trace around the black. And we're going to say create the vectors. And there they are. You can pick them out in purple. And you can see it's sort of evened. It's taken an even path. I'll just zoom in on this to show you. It's taken an even path through those pixels, and if you notice here, there's 1, 2, 3. So it's actually drawn that. If it was 2 on its own, it wouldn't have drawn anything. And it's taken the average or path then through there. So that's how that's what these represent, and you know you can alter them if you wish, but normally I find that you know they're fine. The speckle size and the smoothness percentage are fine. The only thing you really have to alter and do, like I did just now, linking the colors up, is the reduce colors. So we've created our vectors now, and now to stop this being I suppose complex to your eye, you know, because that is a bit complex, you know, the purple lines are the lines that we've just drawn. What you can do is see a slider bar here. This is a contrast control of the original drawing. So what you can do is catch hold of that, slide it down. If you look at the picture, it's just fading the original picture away to near nothing. It's still there, but it's nearly completely gone. So what will happen when we get the VBIT tool out? I'll just bring it up slightly. What you see as black, it is going to carve out. what you see as white is going to be left as original material. In our case, it's going to be red. And that's what you need, two contrasting colors. So what we're going to do now is choose a tool. Okay, I went out yesterday afternoon to purchase a new V-bit tool, which is that one, because it has a 1/4 inch or 6mm shank to fit my new router. This is my old V-bit carving tool, and of course it's a 1/2 inch shank, and I no longer have that router. And it's something I didn't think of, actually, that all the tools, all my cutters are all 1/2 inch, and so I've had to go out and buy sets of 1/4 inch cutters to go with this little CNC router. Never mind. So now I've got to, I'm pretty sure this is a 90-degree cutter. Yep, that's a 90-degree, and it's a 19mm. Now 19mm, convert that to inches. Well, you pick that up, it's 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that's the rough translation of it. So we've got a 3/4 90-degree V-bit. I don't know whether that exists in the tooling list, because like I say, I've been dealing with these. So what we're going to do is go straight into, now you can go into the toolpaths or go and generate toolpaths in two different areas. You can either go here, where my cursor is, onto toolpaths there, or you can go up here and to this drop down and pick a toolpath here. So that's what we'll do, and we can go straight in and do a, it's already listed here for V-bit carving, and selected vectors. Now as they're purple, that means they're selected. Okay, I'll just backtrack a little, and I'm going to come off here in this grey area and click. They've gone black. Okay, so that is telling me that, well, look, the vectors that we created there are not selected. So to select the vectors, very simple. You have the cursor here. It's got to be this like arrow. So you come up, just off the screen, left click, draw down to this bottom corner so you encompass the whole picture, and release. So you've selected all the vectors again. So we're coming back up here, toolpaths. It's a 2D operation, 2.5D, I suppose you can call it. It's a V-bit carving. Selected vectors, start depth 0. I always use 0 as the top of the material. It's telling me here maximum depth 12mm. I don't want to go that far, because that little cutter, I'm going to be burying it into the I think, let me have a look. The maximum depth of cut for this is, I'll change it back to millimeters now. Millimeters. Maximum depth is going to be 10mm, which is 0.37. Okay, 0.37 of an inch. I do intend this year to do some Cavco tutorials in inches, for those of you who do have a little problem between metric and inches. So I'm going to say maximum depth there of, I'm going to say 10 millimeters. So that is, that's giving me, it's telling Cavco, that's it. You don't go any deeper than 10 millimeters. Not worried about tolerance. I mean, 0.25. That's only a couple of thou. Excuse me. Carving tool. Now this is where we may have to create a new tool. Carving tool. So now we're going to go down through the listing. Steel. We want metric tools, engraving tools. We want wood and plastic. Here we go. V-bits 32. I didn't think it was there. 6 millimeter. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this 6 millimeter 90 degree. I'll choose that. Now I am going to copy that one, and I'm already selected on the lower copy, and I'm going to edit it. So I'm going to give this now some new parameters, and I'm going to say that this is a 19 millimeter, which is equivalent to 1/4 inch. So you don't have to alter much, but you're telling Cavco, oh, this is a different tool. It's a 90 degree V bit. The tool number really doesn't matter. I don't have a tool changer. You can name it whatever you want. Now then, the diameter change here. That's 19. Diameter mode, yes. 19.0. And angle is 90 degree. Step down 0.75. I'm going to leave all that because we can change. Actually, that's. I'll do it now. Actually, I'm going to say that we can go down 2.5. 2.5 millimeters. What I'm saying is that if you have a piece of material, an area of material that eventually you know that it's going to cut down to the maximum depth, which we've set as 10 millimeter, we're sort of telling Cavco, well, with this tool, we only want you to do a cut over that area 2.5 millimeters deep per pass. In other words, don't dig it into 10 millimeters immediately and carve it out. Do it in stages. That's what we're actually telling Cavco here to do. Flute range time, we're going to leave that. Here, at this stage, there's nothing else here to change. And we'll do that in the program now in a second. And we're going to OK that. And you see now in the listing, it's changed into the listing here to 19 millimeters. That's the indication that we have a new tool. And we're going to select that tool. So now we've selected that tool, we'll open it, and we are going to individualize the cut to this job and our CNC router. Step over. That's probably pretty fair, actually. I'm going to alter. Okay, step over. I'm going to alter this to 1 millimeter, which is pretty fair. Step down. We've already preset this at 2.5 millimeters. That's fine for this little cutter. Actually, we could, because I'm not sure about the torque rating of this. Well, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm going to even come down a little further, and I'm going to say 1.5 and see how it goes, because it's the first time I've done a V-bit carbine with this rotor that I've made. Okay, feed rate. Now 25 millimeters. I've run a 1/2 inch cutter with this on the previous job, like a flat like end mill, and there was no problem with it. But you, with a V-bit, as of course you go deeper, the area in contact with the cutting faces increases a lot more compared to just a flat cutter. But I'm sure it will stand up to it quite well. I'm sure it won't be a problem at all. However, the controller that I have, it's just off picture that you can't see, I can, like Mach 3, I can run the whole G-code at 30, 40, 50% of the original what I've set here. I can go the other way too. I can run it at 150, 200% if I wish. But so I know that this is going to be fine. So that is what I'm going to leave it as. The plunge rate, that I'm going to raise. Now I normally put it to 50% of what the feed rate is. That normally always works, but there again I'm going to be on the side of caution here, and I'm going to bring it just back a little bit. I would have normally done it at 12 millimeters, but I'm going to come back a bit at I'm going to say probably I'll do 10 millimeters just to see. Now Kavco at this point in time does not run the RPM of the rotor. I do that manually. In the future it will be connected up for Kavco to actually run the speed of the rotor as well. So I'm going to leave that. I'll leave it as tool number 1. There is only one tool for this job. So I'm going to say that's okay. Now at this point you can check with Kavco to see what the maximum depth is going to be. Refresh, there we go. Okay, maximum width is 9.5. Maximum depth is nearly 5 millimeters, so it's okay. That's going to be okay, actually. So that's another thing that you can sort of reassure yourself that, you know, it's going to be, it's not going to overpower the tool, and you're not going to go right through into your, you know, right through into your wasteboard. Safe Z, 10 millimeters. I'm going to go with that. That's okay. So let's set up the material size. This is where you set up the material size, and it's 16 millimeters. And we're going to OK that. If you just notice in the background, it's just jumped in the 3D window. That's where you saw the picture just flicker a little bit to give the correct size. So this is calculating now. So there's a lot of code in this, not quite so much as a 3D cav in, but still there's a lot of code in this, a lot of lines of code, probably about 10,000 possibly, and it's done it without a hitch. In this particular time, there are no Cavco doesn't see a problem with this picture at all. It's made the toolpath. Sometimes when you do this, a little box will come up and say that Cavco couldn't make the that Cavco couldn't make the toolpath as there was intersecting lines, or it'll come up and prompt you where you have to manually go in and clip a couple of lines away because they sort of cross over, and Cavco can't actually make the toolpath for that area. In a later video later on this year, I'll show you how to do that, but in this case not necessary. Okay, now I'm just going to bring up a picture of the controller that I'm using on my new router, and that's, you might lose me here. Okay, so this is the controller I'm using. It's an SMC 5-5-N-N. Don't worry about the Chinese writing, you can change it within the controller, but this is what I'm using. It is a 5-axis unit, and I absolutely love it. It works exactly the same as Mark III or Mark IV, and it's a standalone controller. And I do notice on the internet that a lot of people are having problems with post-processors to feed code into it. Well, I can tell you now that Cavco doesn't have a problem with it at all. So I'm just putting my thumb drive into here, wait for it to come up. Okay, so we'll drop that down because I don't want to get rid of those. So we come here now to save the file, going into the J drive. So we're going to say this is test two, and it's a just a V bit. Okay. Now then, if you go here, you can see that there is hundreds of codes. These are all post-processors that have been, sort of made by Cavco to, there's a big name here, Haas. They're all here. Mark II, Mark III, and of course Mark IV isn't a problem. You feed the same as Mark III in there. So I'm just randomly sort of running down through here. So there's many different types of post-processor that are specific written. Okay. Oh, there's another one there, look. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, there's another one there, Tormach. So it's specifically written for Tormach as well. That's just a couple that I've just picked out. So this is where you need to come. G code millimeter tap. That is the standard basic G code that controller understands. I do see quite a few people saying that, or they're asking me, does that controller work with inches? It was developed to run metric. I do understand that the maker of that controller does a patch, we'll call it, for inches. I don't know how successful that is, so I can't tell you. I have no information of anybody actually using an SMC 5-axis controller in inches. So if there's someone out there, let me know in the comments and how you get on with it, because I just don't know. So there we are. I will save this code now, just like that. And so that'll be a fairly big code. That'll be probably between 8 and 10,000 lines of G code. There's a lot of geometry there. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this Cavco tutorial, and underneath this video I will leave a 5% discount code, and that will be above the comment section, just in the video description area. So I'll leave a 5% discount code for Cavco. Any of the Cavco products, whether it's monthly, yearly, buy it outright, whatever you decide to do, and it's for all the programs, whether it be Maker, Maker Plus, or the main program of Cavco, you get a 5% discount off it, whether it's commercial use or personal use. Okay, you still get the 5% off, but you must go to the address that's with that code. It only works with that address. Okay, that address will take you to the main Cavco download and distribution in the US, but it's applicable worldwide. It doesn't matter if you're in Japan, Australia. Go there, download it, no problem. But it is only there you will get the 5% off. So, thank you for joining me, and please press like, subscribe, and if you'd like to become a patron, the information for patron is down there by the Cavco code as well. And I hope you join me for the machining of this on my new CNC router that I completed just over a week ago. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me again for the next Cavco tutorial or whatever I'm doing in my workshop. Bye for now.